Your hand if you have a child, 14 and over. Let's just say that. Okay. All right. We've got a mixed group here. I think that we do have a lot to hope for, but I think we have to get our values aligned and we have to be pointed in the right direction, or we're going to get lost, almost like how we are now for adults with autism. I have a 39-year-old son with autism. I beat all of you. He's had 4 transitions. I used to think that school transition was everything. No, there are transitions on down the road because why? Life changes. Situations change. And the most that I want for him, and I believe you do too, is for your son or daughter to be physically and psychologically safe. To me, that's the most important. To be around people who treat them that way. To have some kind of a routine that is pleasant to them, that they can count on, that's predictable. And for some, have work, volunteer, hobby, and for some to go off to college, get certifications or college. So there's a wide variety of that meets your son or daughter where he or she is. So what I do, I help individuals with autism and emotional impairments lessen, decrease their anxiety and fear, and connect them to work, hobbies, careers, college, that connect them to the things that they want in life, all based upon their strengths. Now, we all use the word strengths every day in schools, but I have designed a tool over 177 different strengths in 4 categories that can pinpoint hidden strengths, that can integrate all of these strengths to find a real direction, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a little bit. So this is what the agenda is today. We're going to look at how do you create safe environments. We're going to talk about strengths and how they can lead to a job or career, or just general overall ease and contentment in life. And then we're going to recognize how all of these things can build self-emotional awareness. Because the way I see it, our emotions drive everything we do, all of us, especially young folks, with autism. And if they drive everything we do, that will determine how effective they will be in new settings with new people. So we really do have to look at the emotions. And then it's been around for a while, interdependence. But in the days that my son was going to school and I was getting my training and I was a teacher and consulted to school districts, we overuse the word independence. Now, the independence sounds like a good word, right? Well, it is a good word. But so many of the clients that I have in the work that I do feel that they're not enough. They feel that if they can't do it independently, like get a driver's license, it doesn't matter what it is, or get a job, that they're not going to do it and they're not going to rely on somebody else. Well, that's when independence becomes harmful, when we use that word over and over again. In interdependence, I'm going to talk a little bit about that. Okay. This is John, and I'm going to open up with a story that I wrote to try to illustrate the points that I'm going to make. John graduated from high school, and he's walking down this busy, noisy street, and he's looking for a job. Well, he gets overwhelmed with all the noise and everything that's going on, and he trips over a barrier and falls into a manhole. He lands, he's unharmed, but he looks up and he can only see the light from the street. And he says, "Help, help, somebody help me. help me. And after a little bit, a woman passed by and she says, are you a youngster down there? Is someone yelling? And he goes, yeah, help me. He goes, I'm 18 years old. He goes, but help me, I fell down. And she thought for a minute and she goes, 18? She goes, oh, well, you use your academic training and your problem solving skills that you learned in school. And she goes, good luck. And she walked on. So then he was so disappointed. Then he started yelling again, help me, someone, please help me. And an elderly man passed by and he says, are you a child? And he says, no, I'm 18 years old. He goes, please help me, I fell down. And he thought for a minute and he says, well, use your independence. Use your independent skills that you have and find yourself your way out. He goes, I've lived a lot of years and I find out that the way to make it in this world is to be independent. And he goes, good day, son. So then the boy, John, was very discouraged and he started to cry. He was afraid he would never get out of there. So then after 15 minutes, he mustered up the energy to say, help, someone please help me get out of here. Well, then the first responder came by and he said, is someone down there? And he said, yeah. He goes, are you a kid? And he goes, no, I'm 18 years old. So he says, I can help you, but you have to allow me to help you first. He goes, oh yes, I'll do anything. He goes, I'm gonna throw you a rope. It's a hemp rope and it's made of 4 different twines. The first twine is hard skills. That's the training that you learn in school. And so the second one is self-expression. That's all of the things that you are able to do well, your interests, all the things that make your heart sing. And the third one is personal preferences. And that's the basics of who you are. That's the essence of who you are. How you get around this world, what makes lights, if you work in an area that's not strong with lights, all of those things are who you are and what makes you get around this world. And lastly are your emotions. You need to identify your emotions and know how to use your emotions, even to keep you safe. So the boy says, yes, I will. So the man lowered the rope and the young man, grabbed onto it and he pulled the man to the street. And the guy said, take this rope with you and use it in your life. And the boy said, thank you very much, and they parted ways. So I thought that was a good story to illustrate how important all 4 of these things are and integrated together to help our youth, find their way in our lives, in their lives. Well, let me just stop there for a minute because I want to say something. I found that my son has found himself in those manholes. And how many of you have felt like you were stuck and you didn't know what the next step was? And it's a very scary place to be. And that's what John represents. He represents all of our kids. And those situations in life don't just, it's not just getting through high school. It can happen any time in life. But there is a way out, and that's what I'm hoping to share with you today. How do we get out of those manholes? Okay, I said earlier that I was gonna focus on lessen the anxiety and fear and bring ease and contentment supporting people with autism. And I want to share a quick example. I was working with a client who was a student in one of the universities in Kentucky. And when I was interviewing him and asking him questions to help write a report, and because I worked through the Office of Oak Rehab as a vendor, and he was a client of mine. And then I said, well, how do you find contentment and how do you have ease in your day? And he goes, contentment? I never have contentment. He goes, I didn't even know that I had the right to have contentment. I said, well, sure you do. I said, do you make time for that? He goes, I wish I could, but I didn't even know that I could have that. So that's another example of how our kids, they're racing, they're trying to do the best they can. And we need to let them know that they need to take time for, themselves, to have downtime, and to really think about, how do I want contentment throughout my daily life and even in my career. Okay, I came up with 6 E's, the letter E, and these, in my opinion, is how you meet the core needs. Now, I think of the individual, and I don't think I mentioned earlier, but over the last 15 years, I have conducted research, qualitative research with families and young adults. So I have a lot of, not quantitative data, but a lot of qualitative data of what folks have told me and shared with me, and I've compared it to my own life and my son's life. So these are the things that keep coming up and how we need to meet their needs. So if, you hear a lot of talk about after high school, are we going to, build farms where they're going to go and live and work? Are we going to, build these buildings and where they're going to get all their needs met? Are we going to do Medicaid waivers with group homes? We're going to do independent living apartments where they're, supervised through an agency. They're going to live a parent or a sister or a friend. There are all kinds of ways to design individualized living that meets the individual's needs. So regardless of where that is, we need to build into them, they need to trust, they need to feel safe where they are, and they need to know that people have got their back. That's number 1. And E2 is we can't let our folks just stay in their nice little nest where they're comfortable. And I'll give you an example. My son lost all of his supports about 8 months ago. And he, when I say supports, his live-in supports, he rents a house from my oldest son, and that's through Section 8 housing. So we have a nice little arrangement there. But he can't live there by himself. So when a live-in, which I fired her, she wasn't doing her job, he comes back to me because I am the one. You know that. You're nodding. So, that was pretty nice for him for a while. He really got, comfortable and liked, helping make dinner. And I work at home, so, I had to interweave taking care of his needs with my work. And that was about 3 months. Well, then I found someone, to work with him, not to live with him, but work with him on a daily basis, because he is an artist and he likes, he has an art studio. He likes to go, we designed a routine, throughout the week where he would go to the gym, he would do his shopping, he would go to coffee shops. It was something different every day. Well, even just those 3 months of living with me, he became very resistant. He wasn't like that, before. And so I thought, I didn't think this was going to happen again. I mean, gee. So we had to expose him, engage him to a brand new, structure. And so, it's very important not to get settled where you're safe, but also have supports to go out and build a routine. And that is just so important. I can't tell you how important that is. But there will always be, even with that, there was, like I said, resistance. He needed that structure, but I think the secret is, and what I found with my son, is predictability. If you can take something that's predictable that he can hold in his hand or see into a new environment, he adapts better. And let me give you an example. Because he likes to eat, he likes to pack his lunch, we would have him always eat somewhere in the community, not go to Dairy Queen or, Wendy's, but he would pack his lunch. And if he's shopping at Target, he would eat at the Starbucks there. After the gym, he would go to the coffee shop and eat. So that got him, it's like he could see down the road, oh, I go to the gym, and there's even a checklist, and now I go, eat my lunch. So that's what's been the saving grace for him, is the predictability that he can carry into new environments.